Welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy presents our MLB DFS pitcher picks for Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017. I'm your host, Nick from CWB, on all of your favorite daily fantasy sites, and I'm here to break down my three favorite pitching options in tournaments today. Last night, let's see, how do we want to put it, was an absolute disaster when it came to pitching. Kershaw had one of the very few down games that you'll ever see him have yesterday. Luis Severino was just as bad as it can be. When you're giving up like home runs and 4 RBIs to Ryan Goins, you know you've had a bad night. And that's not a slight at Ryan Goins, but he is not a Babe Ruth. Let's just keep it at that. So, not too many pitchers made it out unscathed. I think it looks like Lance McCullers ended up being the best of the bunch. Shockingly, I count it lucky that I managed to have a pretty decent amount of success yesterday, but that was largely due to the hitting and having guys like Jed Yurko, D. Gordon, Michael Conforto that really helped me out. Did not have guys like Anthony Rizzo who helped me out because why would he? If you pay under 2K or if you pay under 3K for someone, watch out. They're going to get you 30 points. But once you start paying up for players, wait for the disaster to happen. So that's the beauty of baseball, is that anything can happen. If you consider that the beauty, there's several psychiatric facilities that'll gladly help you out. I'm not a big fan of it. I can't wait until we can do something else. It doesn't mean I know that it sucks that I sit here and I rag on baseball, but not only is the sport extremely unexciting for me to watch personally, but when you spend so much time digging into things and you're like, all right, cool, I know exactly where we got to go with things today, and it doesn't pan out, a little frustrating. It's not as easy to research baseball as it is some other sports, but nonetheless, let's focus on today. Let's focus on 3 pitchers who can help us in tournaments. And let's start things off with Jose Quintana. I'm actually not going to dip too low in the pricing today. If you check out my article, I do have one pitcher under 8K in that article. So if you're someone who really wants to try to find a value play, I think I have someone that might work out. Jose Quintana, he was a guy coming into the year in season-long leagues. It was kind of a trendy, hey, I think this is going to be a breakout spot for him. Did not start the season that way whatsoever. Looked really bad on the mound, but things turned around the last game against the Royals, who ironically happen to be the team he is going up against tonight. The Royals, admittedly, one of my least favorite fantasy teams because whenever they're in a good position, they never seem to come through whenever they're faced with a pitcher who they should get shut down by. They want to put up 6 runs. And no, this isn't a reference to Dylan Covey because you were insane if you played Dylan Covey yesterday. But Quintana, left-hander, when you start thinking about the Royals, Alex Gordon, Mike Moustakas, Eric Hosmer, you kind of think more of their prolific bats are on the left-hand side. You replace them, you're putting in guys like Whit Merrifield, Cheslor, Cuthbert. I think that Quintana should be able to shut this team down tonight, and at 8,700 on FanDuel makes a really nice play. Moving on, James Paxton, 9,300 for the Seattle Mariners, taking on the Los Angeles Angels. He was another guy that was one of those trendy, hey, this could be a good year for him. He had a pretty strong either whole season last year, at least a portion of the season. I remember using him and having some pretty good success with him. The slight against this matchup is going to be the Angels don't strike out much, and he's done very well in that category thus far this year. But they do strike out. Like, teams that don't strike out will have games where they strike out. Yu Darvish already has a 10 strikeout game against the Angels, so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that James Paxton could knock down 8 guys. I think it's a good situation for him, and he's another guy that I'm going to want a pretty good amount of exposure to. Next up and last up, Chris Sale of the Boston Red Sox. When I look at some of the higher priced options, the top 5 guys on FanDuel being Sale, Lester, Kluber, Verlander, Hamels, I could make a case for 3 out of those 5 guys. Verlander and Kluber would be the other 2 that I would consider. I'm sorry that things are shaking. My cat's deciding that it's going to try to disarm the computer. And you could really look a little bit lower down, throw Carlos Martinez into that, though it's scary to try to put anyone on to the Brewers at this point. But I don't know, something just sticks out to me more with Sale. I could definitely see Kluber and Verlander getting handled a little more than I do with Sale. I know that Baltimore had a really nice game yesterday against Rick Porcello. I think that, and maybe most of it didn't come against Porcello, but it came against the bullpen. But I think Sale is someone who could get us a lot of strikeouts. The Orioles can be undisciplined at the plate at times. You know, he's not priced in the Kershaw realm of being, completely impossible to build a lineup around him. And, he can go deep into a game. So that's what we want if we're going to spend up for a pitcher. It's not just strikeout upside. I don't want someone who can go 6 innings with 8 strikeouts. I want someone who can go 8 innings and potentially get 9 or 10 strikeouts. So to wrap it up today, top 3 tournament pitchers: Jose Quintana, James Paxton, Chris Sale. Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com to sign up for our MLB mailing list. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.